Hi, everyone. Welcome into episode 82 of Coffee and Chel. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Brent, also known as Papa, as well as Pedro. Oh my God, I forgot all about that. We didn't talk about that before we started. Bro, you are now Pedro. I apologize.
Did somebody call me that?
Someone on. I'm
Yeah.
gonna. Okay, yo, we're going off the rails early. I'm gonna read a redditor commented on something on a recent Reddit post, and I'm gonna word for word it because I just thought it was one of the funniest things I've seen in quite some time. So now everyone in the comments section, we're just gonna have to follow along here. So the quote was, let me find it. Here we go. I don't know why, and while not a dad, I'm an uncle to some fantastic kiddos. I enjoy listening to your Coffee and Shell podcast. I accidentally made Pedro angry with a YouTube comment quite a while ago, so if he remembers, I apologize again.
Oh, that guy's full of. You know
Classic
what?
Pedro.
No, I
That
think
guy's.
he's just a nice guy, and you probably
I think
got
he's.
angry.
I think he's full of it. He knows exactly what my name is. He's just being a dork.
I don't know.
I guarantee it was that one dork that I was like arguing with in the comments. It was some guy that was just being.
I don't know,
I
man.
can't remember what it was. I literally want to go back and look now. It was something so
He
stupid.
seemed pretty genuine in this, and Pedro might have just been a typo, but it ended up being a phenomenal typo. But nonetheless, let's carry on. We are going to discuss the patch, or the Phantom Patch, as I like to refer to it, as well as the Gallery of Greats event and Bobby Orr. And then we'll also argue about other things. But as we normally do, since we are all far older than most people in this community, actually, we're not. We're like as old as everyone in the majority of this community. I think that's why.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, I think that's why we actually get people to listen. So, we'll start with you, Brent. Tell me about your, the last. What'd you do this weekend? What'd you do this weekend?
Okay. Well, you're not at this stage yet, but
Okay.
okay, Pedro. Question for you. Do you
Dude, I found it now. It's this guy that told me that he said I put on a few pounds. I go, in what world am I fat? That's what I asked him. He goes, he said you put on a few pounds. I'm like, dude, it's probably because I was like this close.
He got you, Pedro.
Yeah.
He got you.
That was the only time I've like argued with someone on the comments when he's like, you put on a few pounds. I'm like, dude, I weigh like $153. So if I'm fat, I don't know. I don't know
so
what
egregiously incorrect that it's
Dude,
hilarious.
Dude,
all I've been told my whole life is how skinny and little I am. So it's like for me to be called fat, I was like, in what world? I've never been called fat.
Anyways,
Like
what did you
scroll through the hate messages?
No,
right? You scroll
I-
through, and
I
then you don't
clicked
say
on-
anything, but you see
We're
something
off
like
the
that, and
rails.
you're like,
I knew I should have
nah.
brought it up. We're
Dude,
off the rails.
I literally went in my mentions and I was like, I found it in 2 seconds. I was like, that's the one guy I got replied to the one time. Usually I just reply and I'm like, thanks for listening.
I hope it
Appreciate
is. I hope it is.
I don't remember what
Imagine
you
it's
know.
not.
It 100% is. It 100% is.
Oh,
found it.
man.
Okay,
That's one-
let's
that's
get
one
back
guy.
on track.
Anyways,
Anyway.
what were you about to say?
Yes. Okay, so I was gonna ask Pedro, do you ever have it where your kids like cry wolf about something like all week, and then you're kind of like basically okay? So my son, my 8-year-old, he was saying that, Dad, I need to puke, and this morning, and I was like, buddy, if you need to puke, man, go puke. And he goes, I don't know. And then 2 hours later, Dad, I need to puke, and I'm like, bring him to the toilet, doesn't do anything. I'm like, buddy, like if you need to puke, just go. Like he's 8, he can fully functionally just go puke if he needs to.
Yeah.
In the car on my drive home, Dad, I need to puke. I pull the car over. I'm like, all right, man, all you,
Let
go
it rip.
for it. And he's
Let
like,
it rip, Chip.
and he's like, nope. And then it gets to bedtime. He's like, I was like, okay, buddy, time for bed. I'm starting to put him in bed. He goes, Dad, I really need to puke. And I'm like, buddy, you've been saying this all day. Get your ass into bed. And then all of a sudden, just projectile
No,
pukes
no,
all
no.
over his room, all the floor. And I went, yeah, that's on me. And I literally was like, 'cause he tried to turn around to go to the bathroom. And I was like, nah, man, nah, we ain't playing this game. I boxed him out. I'm like,
Is he
"No." And then
okay?
he's probably. I think it was just a little. I think he might have like a. Okay, he's probably not okay. He probably has the
Like-
flu or something.
Dude, I can't believe that. That's wild.
Dude, that's
It was like out of a sitcom. I'm like, nah, man. It's like splash damage on my socks, and I'm like, all right, this
You have
is
carpet
sick.
or hardwood in this room?
It's hardwood at least.
All
so
right,
it's,
there you go.
know,
That's the
salvageable.
important question here. We need to
Yeah,
know the
that is.
cleanup. What about
No,
you?
no.
What about you, Stu?
Yeah, no, my kids do this, or my daughter does it sometimes. She's always now because she's like potty trained now, fully obviously. She's been potty trained for probably almost over a year, but she's always like, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm like, all right, go. Goes in there. All right, I didn't have to go. I'm like, what are we doing here? And then 10 minutes later, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, all right, let's go. And then it's like the worst is like, all right, we're gonna go somewhere. Go to the bathroom. I don't need to go. I'm like, are you sure? Yeah, I don't need to go. Okay. Get there. I
Immediately.
gotta go. I gotta go. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, there's no bathroom here. We're at like the pumpkin patch. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, come
Sleeves,
on.
you're in for a treat when you get to this stage, man.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Dude,
No,
I
I know exactly what you go through.
I get dude, I'm gonna get emotional here for a second. I get so happy just looking at him. I'm at the stage where I'm like, yo, if you just stayed like this, I wouldn't be that upset. You're just like cute to look at, you know? He hasn't got like that awkward big yet where like his head is like larger than his body, you know, like that, like when they get to like about one right before they can start to like walk and stuff. And you know, he just smiles, and when he smiles, he can't really do much or communicate. So when he smiles, it's cute, and I pop in there. Skylar got him this like little like seat that you just like plop him in, and it's very small, and it just like I don't know why he was like up on my island when I went upstairs. Skylar was just like doing some work or whatever, and he was just sitting in this little thing, and I was just like, oh, you got me, you know. But yeah. Oh, I had my first blowout, so I had a dad weekend.
God.
I had a dad weekend.
Nice.
One of my good buddies, his daughter turned 2, so we went there. I had an ice dog game at like 6:30, or sorry 7. So I had to leave this from like 4 to 6:30. I had to go to that, and then I had to go to the arena right afterwards. So I'm driving to drop off my wife and my kiddo, and he kind of like, man, he like sounds like he's going to the bathroom with his mouth. He like makes this noise like he's just whatever, right? And then get him in the house, and I'm just like, holy smokes, bro. So anyone who's about to have kids, a blowout is nothing to mess with. It is not good. Anyways,
Outfits ruined.
Worse when it gets all
Oh,
up to
yeah.
the shoulders. It's
shoulders,
those are the
dude.
worst.
That's a tidal
Oh,
wave.
yeah.
Yeah, this was just
Oh.
pants. Anyways, so yeah, that was and then we did like yesterday. I had to do like the Christmas picture like Skylar got me like this just awful looking like sweater
Those
thing.
are tough.
It was tough, but I did it, you know, and it was fun hanging out with him. Anyway, so you know that was that. Let's discuss. Where do you want to start with the patch?
Let's do
or-
content. Let's do
I
content.
think
Yo.
I want to go to the patch.
Okay. Bobby Orr. Let's like aside from EA, that was cool, right?
Yeah.
I gotta give them credit. They went
Anytime
and
you
got
can
a
add a
biggie.
legend.
That was
Anytime you can add a legend.
that was the
that's cool.
first time. When was the last time they did something like that? I can't even
I don't know if they ever
Never.
have.
because like I think that like Lemieux and Gretzky just have always been like a thing
Yeah.
for the most part, and you could just get and how like they were all together. Like
I wonder if it helped that Makar was on the cover and they were trying to like kind of tie it in because
Maybe.
all you
He's-
ever see about is Makar and Bobby and Makar because it's
Yeah.
all you see now with comparisons. Every time Makar scores and gets a point because he has more points in games and he, you know, it's like all you ever see. So I wonder if that was kind of like their thinking, maybe. You know what I mean?
I didn't
it's
think about that, but that
interesting.
makes sense.
I know in the background that they were kind of aggressively trying to get more icons because so for anyone that doesn't know, EA has to. This isn't on EA. This is like one thing you can't blame me on is they send out
Yeah.
requests and then the players have to, if they're in the alumni association, they have to sign in. I'm pretty sure Bobby Orr isn't in the alumni association, or he's like an agent. There was something about him I was reading where he's like they had to sign him and his likeness by himself. So like EA like went out and got some deal. But this was big, and I like that it wasn't thrown in with launch. I kind of like that it was like middle, but it opens the doors now because it's always just Lemieux and Gretzky, and then they throw in Howe, who I think is deserving, but not on the same. His longevity is what makes him, you know, and that way that he built hockey in like the 50s, and but like Gretzky and Lemieux are just like offensively, and then there's Bobby Orr, and I think that it opens up a lot. Who's left of that status? Like, there's no one in that status, right?
I don't know. I think that's basically covers it now, right?
I think so, man. Like, there's like Bure, but nowhere near that. Like, nowhere near that level.
Everyone wants him because of the build of the card.
Yeah,
I remember
and the
back
fact
in
that he was
NHL
cool.
Oh, he didn't play back then, but he was like in NHL 16 and 17 when I first came back, and his card was absolutely top tier, like 97 speed, like an absolute. Like they had him as a MSP card in the very first event. So his first card of the year in NHL 17 was a 95 overall. and it was a 99. It was like all stats were 99 in October.
That's
So-
nuts, man. Could you imagine that now?
Ron Francis isn't in the game.
I was about to say Ron Francis is the only one I can think of off the top of my head that it's like in that top 10ish that like isn't in there.
Marcel Dion used to be in the game, right?
Dude, he randomly has a card this event and no one can figure out where it's from.
Oh, he is in the game.
So I was adding the cards to Hut Hub, and I think like if you go into the collection, you can find Marcel Dion, but I don't. I'm assuming he might be in like the squad battles rewards or something, but he wasn't like on the banners or anything. I couldn't figure out where he was.
I'm looking at like the top like point leaders of all time, and they literally have everybody in the game, besides Ron Francis.
Yeah, he's like the old. And I'm
It's
wondering.
weird.
I wonder if
Like-
it's because he's a GM.
Yeah, maybe Gilbert Perot. They don't have him. Pierre Turgeon. They don't have him.
No, you're right on those two.
But,
I'm not
I mean,
gonna lie, I
but-
wish
but
they would
Or
make
is-
Or though the 88 like power up icon at some point. I wish they throw him in
I-
that tier.
I want him to be an ultimate. Yeah, like add him into the ultimate icons like halfway
Even
through.
wait a bit. Yeah, like
Yeah.
wait till like New Year, then January 1st they drop him as like the 88 one.
I think he's going to
The-
get one. Like it wouldn't surprise me at all. Or he's
It'd be smart.
or he's guaranteed to be one of the 99s.
yeah.
I think at the end of the year.
Like team
the
builders?
no, the quest to 99.
Oh, that would make sense.
I could see that, like him being the right defense or left-handed defenseman, because we know that we have Makar and we know there's Bedard, and unless they're just keeping that to players this year, which is cool. But
how are you guys liking Or in game though?
so Nippon came in my stream and he was like, "You got to put wheels on him, best card in the game," and I was like, "Okay, relax." I added him to my team immediately, and I didn't think twice of it because I'm just personally, I don't care about GWC in that sense, and I just want to use him because it's Bobby Orr, and it was good, but like he's only 6 foot and whatever, so like the meta and whatnot, he isn't exactly dude. You put wheels on him. I played someone who had wheels on him. That's a lot to activate, like 10, and like if he gets going, like you have to time it perfully to stop him,
Yeah.
and it was
free breakout guaranteed every time.
I
too.
got cooked by him, like against this one guy. Like wasn't paying attention really, and he had him, and he just walked me completely. And I was so if you use him like that, really, he's fastest card in the game, other than with no synergies. I think he is legitimately the fastest card in the game. So
It's 94, right? As
Yeah.
an 88.
yeah, the only ones that can get higher, I think, is that Larkin, because he has like speed boost or something. I don't remember. I was just adding him. I think.
Good luck activating that yet, like efficiently. At
I
this point
know,
in the
I know.
game.
I'm wondering when that'll be, like when Team of the Year comes out, like how good synergies will be.
My guess is the new team builders are gonna have that like
Double?
like kind of mid tier 6-3 kind of like like the Todd Bertuzzi build like last year kind of thing.
Give me
They'll
give me
throw
a
a
guess.
speed synergy on those guys. Like who do I think?
Yeah, give me a guess.
Oh,
So
I was
hard.
looking at some of the. I was looking at some of the guys like a Taylor Pyatt, 6'4",
I really hope not.
230,
That's so just
230
because
pounds.
of meta though. Like that's not a team builder.
Yes, that's why they'll do it though. They don't care about the names that much. It seemed to just be like find a guy that fits the meta build and give him a team
The
builder.
prior years, I would agree, because like when we had 99 Nick Bustad or whatever,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
like that was ridiculous. That's not a team builder. And even last year, we got like Brian Boyle and Antropov. Although Antropov, you could argue in the mid 2000s, but which I hate that. But like I could see like I think Thornton would be a great
Yeah.
one. So Lindros would always be a good one.
I think the guys they stripped away having a power up icon, and the guys are gonna get it. So you're gonna get like Medano's gonna get one.
Oh, that's a good
Gardner might
point. He
get
didn't
one.
get a. That's
Yeah.
dude. That's a good point. Like some of the bigger icons that didn't get an icon. That maybe that's
Yes.
why.
Like Neuendijk got it in this event, right? So I'm sorry, this
Oh
in the
man, I didn't
87s.
even think
So-
of that. So Medana was one that was a popular one. I mean Gartner, but I don't think Gartner would get one.
Chara is a matter of time. It depends when they want to throw
Oh.
in like that wrench into like the mix.
Char
Yeah,
should have been
I don't
first.
know.
Char should have been
Do you
87.
want him early or do you want him
Early.
late? Is the real question.
Like 83
Yeah.
speed. Like you could, because you could go as low as like 83 speed at
I'm
launch,
eating that Chara.
and it would be like.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get into like February, you can't really give him 83 speed, like where it's like
You have to give him 90, or else he's gonna get absolutely. I mean, like, okay, his 83 is 84 speed right now, and he still functions in game because he has so much reach, especially with like
That's the thing.
the
is
big hit
reach.
animation. He can literally launch himself like 20 feet. It's nuts.
You guys are both using skill stick, by the way, right?
Yeah.
I'm using total control.
Okay, dude. Oh, do you use circle to hit?
No, I do it down and up.
Are you noticing that it's harder to actually get a hit?
I don't know. I didn't notice a huge difference with the hitting. I was noticing. I'm trying to think what I noticed. Well, I guess we'll talk about the patch too, because
Yeah, let's go into the patch.
yeah, I mean, like, okay, Yager came out. We saw that.
Oh
too,
yeah.
and, like,
Ovechkin's amazing.
yeah, we
We all
already
in
did we
agreement
do
of
that?
that?
Yeah.
last time?
Yeah. Ovechkin's amazing.
Yes.
Yager is like the
Yager's
left-handed
good.
version, and then that's.
Do you make those all the way up?
I haven't made Yager because there's so
So,
many
yeah.
good lefties. If I didn't have Teravainen,
He's just that good right now that he to me is a must make.
I agree-
Everyone
I
should have
totally
Yager
agree.
and
I agree.
Ovi. Okay, so my second line is what I dedicate to being my O zone line. Like I'm gonna get pressure with this line, and we were talking last week that I said like I'm not using UF. I threw it on these two specifically to make sure that I'm not
I
losing
was
the
trying to
puck
tell
with these two.
Stewie. I was trying to tell Stewie, man, it still works. It's just hip checks.
It's not as good because like, but their purpose, like with what they're doing on that line, is to get pressure for me. Like their whole purpose is to get pressure, and then I change my like basically what some people are doing now is they get pressure, they pull their guys out of the zone, they go for a change, and then they hammer you right back in the zone because now their guys are drained. You get a
Yeah.
fresh line out there,
I had a guy do that
and then
to
they
me.
just go and get a free 2-on-0.
Yeah, and you're flat-footed. I'm
Yeah.
not using Bobby Orr, by the way. I tried out the 80 with the free one they gave us.
84.
I just feel like he's just like weak in the D zone. He reminds me of McCarr, kind of, but that's just me.
No, yeah, I know. Yeah, I knew that.
I think Kevin Lowe's a stud, and I think Breeze Wall's a stud. I think
the
what's his
players
name?
that you think are good.
Zubov stinks, and I think Leach would be better if Stickum Up was more effective. I think Leach is fast, but I don't think he's like amazing defensively. I mean, I'm curious to see how good this game is too when the hip checks get tuned down, because right now you can still hip check the same way and it's really broken. Like you can just stand there with your butt out and you can still bump people. It's so I don't know. Maybe my perspective changes when that happens, because like right now, like Kevin Lowe shutdown is just crazy.
Shutdown
Like,
is one of the best abilities in the game right now.
yeah, it's just broken. But
Yeah.
other than that, like I use that Chara that Brent was talking about. And I use Hamilton's base card still, and they're both like really effective, even at like 83 and 80. Yeah, 83. Both of them are 83. So I don't know, but that's just me. I mean, I'm weird. So
Yeah, you like there's like it's just a small, very small amount of the player base that could ever play like how you do with like the cards that you use. Like it's so odd, but that's that's because you played for
I
so
just
long.
I just noticed like this week, McCarr especially started to feel more like weak.
Dude,
I guess
I don't know if it's because everyone's using unstoppable
everyone's getting
force.
team builders.
Yeah,
Everyone's
like
getting Yager. Everyone's getting Ovechkin. I mean, like every team now has like almost all team builders. I feel like when I play,
it's very
crazy.
easy to make a very good team this year. I think.
Yeah.
It
Right.
is.
This
Everyone
event-
complained about the rewards at the beginning of like the year, going, man, they really screwed the rewards. Actually, this is the
If you play
easiest
Hut
game to be
Champs,
free to
dude,
play ever.
If you play
Yeah.
Hut Chance to get 12 wins, man, that's 4 mega packs plus
Mhm.
rivals.
Guaran-
Like
So,
the
4
mega pack
that's
thing
120K.
is nuts. Yeah,
Guaranteed 120K right there. That's if you pulled zero
and that's
83s
it's
and above.
tradable. And like if you dude, I've pulled icons, X factors. Like I've made a killing off those mega packs, dude. It's nuts. But
Mhm.
the so let's talk about the patch real quick.
Yep.
I did that like impromptu interview. It was kind of thrown together last minute. There was more I wish we could have done. I think Mike, afterwards we talked a little bit. He wanted to do a little bit more, and I have to give him. I'll start with the pros and like give props. He's the first person that works for EA that was willing to sit and do it live. I even went and said, this might be a mess if you do it live. Do you want to like pre-record? He was like, nope, let's do it live. So props, because by the end of it, my chat got toxic. But for the first like 20 minutes, he just, it was what it was. I didn't get to ask everything that I kind of wanted to, just because it was all about gameplay, and a lot of people were asking about like Hut and the Discord, and it's like he's not gonna be able to answer that, so I just didn't. That's that for anyone watching. That's why I didn't ask those questions, because he would have just said I'll have to look into it or get another, But the patch, here was the confusion, I think, because he brought up the AI penalties. And we can talk about that in a second, as well as hip checks being tuned. The problem was that's for a future patch, and I think the confusion was is that we talked about that, did a stream, and then the next day the patch got released. We didn't even know when the patch was because we didn't really. He didn't want to say a date because he wasn't sure, like because things could change in QA, I guess. So didn't want to confirm a date, but it was literally the next day, and everyone had that video fresh in their mind or that stream fresh in their mind. It was like none of these changes happened. But it was meant for a future patch that I think is at the end of this month, maybe beginning of December. But I gotta say, like, nothing changed in this in terms of gameplay. So
Not noticeably, for
the
sure.
the big one was supposed to be holding down the hit button, and whether it's down on the skill stick or total control or holding down circle, and you get that speed burst while you lock on and you're chasing someone down for a hit. That's still in the game. I don't know what happened, but I was using circle or B for hitting ever since the launch of the game, and I can't hit anyone off the puck anymore. Like it just will not go. It will not bump, and I don't know if it's because it's like a delayed. So you have to release it before you hit them, right? Like it, because when you release it, it triggers the animation of them going like boom, right? And it's like
Right.
it just is not the. I'm so over the delays and the input lag and it not feeling snappy. And it just really has ruined a lot of the experience for me. And that is a console thing. It's not on play. It's not really on Xbox. It's on PlayStation.
Have you tried Xbox yet this year?
I'm about to. Dude, I can't stand my PlayStation 5 anymore. Just as a console in general, I think it's a terrible console. And I've been Sony since I was an 8-year-old. I just can't stand it anymore. This generation of consoles was brutal. Like absolutely brutal. The fact that I'm on my 15th controller since launch is disturbing. 15.
Wait,
I'm not over
wait,
exaggerating.
wait.
My Edge
What?
controller. My Edge controller is my 15th controller. Now, I play video games more. It's my job, right? So I play exponentially more than a lot of people, right? But the fact that that's in the realm of possibility, and every single time it's stick drift. And they sued, or I believe there was a lawsuit in the first 2 years that Sony was suing the company that made their controllers. I could be wrong, and I'm sure people in the comments let me know. So after about a year and a half or 2 years, someone told me, look on the back and there's like a serial number, and if it starts with C, you're good. If it starts with A, that's a Generation 1 controller and it'll break on you. And sure enough, like that happened. But even the new ones, I get stick drift, and it's just like every 2 months I can barely last with it, and it's just like holy god. And you can't play it without it plugged in.
What are you gonna do?
I bought an Edge controller because you can just
No,
replace
I
those
know, but
sticks.
you're saying about Xbox. Are you gonna like just make a team on there and start doing?
Next year. I can't.
Oh,
do it.
next year. Okay.
Next year. I probably could
Yeah, it's
ask
too late
EA
now.
to switch my team or something, but that's not really fair to a lot of people that play on PlayStation.
Yeah, who
I
cares?
still
They'll get
don't.
over it.
That's a
Oh,
set,
no,
like
no,
a
no, no, no,
precedent
no.
that they're gonna start.
Yeah, and
barking
not
about
not
that.
to mention like I'm not like some high moral standing person. I'm like, but I'm not trying to like but it would make me really pissed off if I was just a casual that plays the game and loves the game and would love, and I have another console I could play it on, and like some streamers like, hey man, can I just move over, and they can't. Like that's dumb. So I'll just sit on PlayStation.
Sleeves. What you need to do is go to Xbox and get yourself an 8-bit do.
Dude,
That's what you need.
You showed me that, and I immediately replied with, "Dude, that's the PC controller from 2000. That's what you played NHL 04 on."
This is official Xbox controller.
Who is
Look at
that
this
meant
thing.
for?
For people that are switching from PlayStation.
Is
I
that
guess,
really
'cause
like
it says,
the goal of it?
It feels exactly like a PS4 controller. Let me find my PS4 controller.
For anyone that's
Hold on.
listening, it's on Twitter. What's your thing on
You
Twitter?
should link it. Link it on Amazon in like the comments or something. This is the 8-bit do. Oh, let me back up. So this is like
It
PS4
looks like the
controller.
Nintendo Switch, like the Pro controller.
It's basically, that's like kind of like the quote unquote theme of it, but it's literally a PS4 layout controller. Like in my hands, it feels identical.
Huh. PS4 controllers are small too.
They are.
Like
They are,
smaller
but I
than
mean,
the
like,
Is it
say
wired
if
or
you wanna
wireless?
if you want to switch from PS to Xbox, and you don't want to have to move your thumb to a new location, which is messing a lot of people up, like in terms of like your muscle memory has your thumb in a certain location, so
You know what's
you're
funny?
gonna end up chalking your passes.
The second,
go ahead.
the second I play, before I forget, the second when I play on Xbox, the thing I notice is my middle finger on my left hand will jam into the back of the Xbox controller really hard to the point where like it'll rub my knuckle because I'm so used to holding the controller like harder, and the way that the
Right.
Xbox One controller like contours, it like doesn't have like space, so I'm like holding it harder,
and it's always in this one spot because of the Xbox controller, the way it lays out. It's always annoying to me. That's the reason why. But
Is that controller wired?
Yep, fully. It's only wired. It's no
Yeah,
wireless.
can't
I,
be
I like
capability.
that. I like that too.
interesting.
Yeah, it has 0 delay for like response time, and it's $40 Canadian.
And
It's
are
so
you sure it's
cheap.
official Xbox?
Yes, it has the official logo, even on the box. If I still have the box somewhere, I do. I got that 8-bit do box. Let's see here. Like this is the official box where it literally has the Xbox
Oh, it does
logo
have
on
the.
it.
Wow, it does.
It's
Okay.
literally for Xbox. So like guys that
Interesting.
are like listening, like this is an official. This is legit. So
I'm curious to see how many nerds that are like us that have it on 2 consoles. It's only the pro players that do. Like,
I just wish we could transfer our teams like
But I mean, for
MLB.
guys that are switching though, like say you're like, oh, like, for the guys that are like, I can't deal with this delay anymore. They want to go from PlayStation to Xbox, not to deal with like the new controller kind of like pains. This is a very cheap option to kind of like skip that part.
for anyone that's not sure about if you have delay or not, because I think for a lot of people it might be in their head or they don't think that there is, right? What I want you to do is go into Hut, leave it on the main menu, and put your controller down for 20 minutes. Don't touch it. Don't let your console shut off from it. Come back and go left and right on the menus, and that is where you'll notice it. It's ridiculous. And once you realize that that's in game, player switching and passing, bro, like that's why. And dude, you know what I notice it on? When I'm on a breakaway and I go forehand backhand.
Yep, that's
By
what I was
dude,
saying.
by the end, yo,
'Cause
by
you
like
need to time it right, or else it's no.
by
you
the
can't
second
score it. You need to
hour,
time it
bro,
100% right.
my Heritage McDavid is too fast. He's literally too fast to the net that I will mess up a breakaway, and I know that's the reason why, right? And this game is not meant to be played on servers. Everyone in 2018 just bitched about how NHL needs to be on dedicated servers, and we were incorrect because we did not realize what playing the NHL video game would be like on dedicated servers. Like Call of Duty and first-person shooters, those will work because input delay is fractions, and the way that it's like the game is set up, it will impact your experience much less. In hockey, or at least the way that EA's game is made, there's so much movement of not just your body, but your stick too. So both sticks are extremely active, and then you have buttons too. It just is not meant. It'll never go back to peer to peer.
And they didn't want to ban the IP booters because
That's
it's too much work.
another thing. Like so IP booting. I mean, for years, a lot of
was
the
bad.
things in game they could not figure out the root cause of what was causing a game breaking issue. So what they would do is just remove it. So for example, for anyone that doesn't realize why you can't put your backup goalie in game in Hut, that is because back in the day you could desync someone by switching your backup goalie in and kicking them out of the game, and they would get a loss. They couldn't figure out how to fix that.
This was NHL 17.
Yeah, that was
problem
17.
that is
Actually,
still
I think it was
plaguing
16.
The game.
Yeah.
Nope, 17.
It was
for
17?
Sure. Remember
Okay.
17? Yeah. But like, there's problems from NHL 17 that still have.
Mike talked a little bit about
this.
it. Mike talked a little bit about it. Like the foundation at which the game is made, it is just years and years of code on top of code. And because it's a yearly cycle, they get 12 weeks. For anyone that doesn't know, they get 12 weeks of dev time where out of a year where they can input new stuff to the game, where they're actively not in the planning, not in the all of that. It is 12 weeks of actual work that they can get into putting into a new game. So like it just
It's news to me.
they don't have the ability. That's every sports game essentially, dude. It's just that on like FIFA, there's 10 times the people, because in a yearly cycle game, you launch, and then by November you're already working. I mean, to be honest, there's a small section of the dev team that's working on a year later in November after the launch. But you're essentially already working on it. And then by Christmas time, like the alpha's got to be ready by like February, because it's got to be approved by Microsoft and Sony. And you know what I mean? Like, so it's a very small window. And it's just that's what makes it so difficult. So when you think about like not just EA, but EA NHL, it sucks because it's the National Hockey League, but it's just such a smaller team than compared to FIFA and all of that. And that's no excuse, because like you got to figure it out. And when it gets long, dude, the patch notes for ESHL, I don't know if you saw that. It was 45 minutes long. The fact that
you wouldn't go over it. You're like, I'm skipping.
I'm
this.
not,
You
dude.
go
I
read it
skipped it in my
yourself.
video. I was like this. I literally said it's unbelievable that they we're launching a game in which this much stuff need to be fixed, because it was not like game breaking things. There was quite a few, but it was like little fixes, and good on them for fixing it. But it's like dude,
They
in
made the launch.
2004,
Yeah.
when you launched a game, it's got to be good or you're toast, because there's no patch, you know. And maybe that's a good thing, because it allows companies to release a game, you know. But man, it's tough. But anyway, so the hitting is brutal. The AI penalties though, I'm over, man. And that was my
Yeah.
biggest thing out of that interview, and a lot of people, was the disagreement. I even gave a little pushback. I was like, we shouldn't be having AI penalties. I think every game mode online, it doesn't work to have the same static gameplay experience across the board. And they said that, we're going to tune penalties down, but we shouldn't take them out entirely. And I'm
Like, here's sorry to cut
No,
you
no,
off
no.
there.
Yeah, you
There's
go
one,
ahead. Go
there's,
ahead.
there's one thing that I wanted to mention. It was specifically when there was a moment in that discussion he was having with you where he was saying that these penalties create quote unquote moments in the game, right? Where it's like, okay, now I need to kill off this penalty at the end of the game in order to clinch my win. There's nobody. Okay, if they did a poll on how many people, if it's okay, this is a scenario. You're up 3-2. You got 2 minutes to go in the third. Super close game, important game in Hut Champs, or it could be in anything. It could be rivals. Doesn't matter. It could be squad battles. You're up 3-2. Your AI takes a penalty. Your reaction is A, man, that's really annoying. Like, this is like, I am pissed off that my AI did this. Or B, man, this is creating a great moment. Oh wow, what an experience this is in game. 99% of the people are gonna hit A. And you know what? The people that hit B just accidentally misclicked and they meant to hit A. Because there's nobody saying that nobody wants RNG that's annoying. Obviously it's hockey. It's a hockey game. There's gonna be RNG, like in terms of like goalies robbing you like
hockey.
3-4 times in a row. That's hockey. Yeah. It's fine. But when it's something absolutely 100% out of your control that can totally throw a game for you. Like, all of a sudden you take like a boarding penalty off of like a back check and you rub them out boarding. You're like, okay, well, I disagree with that. Then all of a sudden, puck draw, they win the puck. Your AI goes and trips like their guy. You're now on a 5-on-3 PK when you shouldn't have been on one in the first place. And there's no one going, oh wow, what a moment of hockey we're playing here. You're just gonna be pissed.
So like,
And okay, sorry, yeah.
no, go ahead.
Okay. Like this is the end. This is like the peak of my rant here. So like, say like this stuff with this game specifically, what people are mad about is the really annoying, aggravating RNG that we have in this game. When people are complaining about why people do not like this game right now, it's because there's some really annoying stuff that they either added back, left in the game, or that they probably should have taken out of the game but didn't, that is just plaguing the people's perception of how this game is. If they remove the AI penalties, if they fix like the in general hitting. Sorry, another thing to go into was when he mentioned that you said to him, hey, you were talking about like the boarding and like the hitting and getting penalties from that, and he says, well, no, we didn't touch the penalty logic for hitting, which doesn't make sense. Why would, if you change the hitting mechanic, you would need to change the hitting penalty mechanic and the logic for penalties, in my opinion, because if you add it, like now with these giant hits, everything is a charge on the back check even. So you guys are skating parallel with each other. You go and you eventually get that edge. You basically knock them off the puck, charge. And you're like, okay, in real life, if you're hitting a guy at this angle, when you're both like, when you're trying to like angle him off and you hit him, that's not a charge. A charge would be like direct, like there should be an angle like min max for hitting to cause a charge. If it's like if you hit at a 25-degree angle, that can't be a charge because that's not a charge. You hit at a straight on parallel angle and you took those like 3 giant steps and you blow them up. That is a charge. They need to fix the AI penalty logic. Okay, you know what? That's the end of my rant. Do you guys agree?
No, it's bad. It's horrible. They, I will say, I don't know if maybe they did something, but I didn't get as many boarding penalties this weekend. Maybe it's like I didn't hit correctly or something. I don't know. I don't know. Like I hit the wrong way, but you know, like vice versa. Because like last week I thought I did fine and I got 1,000,000 of them. So I don't know. I mean, I agree though. The charging stuff and the boarding and the elbowing are just egregious this year. They're really bad.
Have you noticed? I just flick up on the right stick now because it actually knocks you off the puck really well. I think it's the
When
only
it
way to
comes
hit,
to
and you
hitting along
don't
the
get a
boards
penalty.
now, yes.
You do
when
not
you
get
hit
a
along
penalty.
the boards, do not do the big hit animation now. Do not. You're just gonna get a free board every time. So yes, like I'm starting to take less penalties though. But you know, it's a lot more fun to absolutely paste a guy to the boards. I would love to be able to just absolutely hammer them every time,
Here's
but you can't.
here's my like. So after the was it last year or the year before? I think it was the year before when that whole AP thing happened. When I got absolutely blamed for the massive changes to the AP thing,
Your
and
fault.
what it made me do, like again in the background, is comedy of coincidences that you just made me look awful. But what it made me do is like stop thinking that the 1% is the most important and that they're the ones that know all the right answers to it, simply because the 99% of how are the ones that play the game and make up the majority of the game. We just never hear from them because they're the dads in Iowa, you know. Won't shout out Womack. But like the so I'm curious though, because this is like, I don't really give my comments on gameplay anymore because I don't think that anyone's opinion on gameplay will always be universally loved across the board by everyone, because hockey, a video game, and the viewership skews older. So what people want is a true hockey experience, which is completely random. If you think about the game of hockey, you know, there are great plays, but there are also just shoot, goes off 4 sticks, and it's in the net. And a lot of people enjoy that. You know, what a lot of people don't find to be hockey is doing the same glitch goal over and over again, or not even a glitch goal, but the same move to beat an AI goaltender. A lot of people would consider that not hockey because that's lame. It's the same thing over and over again. But in an online video game, what I'm curious is the players that are not good online, and you just play squad battles, do you enjoy the fact and do you get a better gaming experience because your AI takes penalties because you now put yourself in a penalty kill situation and it's random? I'm wondering if there's anyone, because I know obviously, for me personally, and online players, get it out of the game. It should not. It should go back to what it was, where online is a different experience than offline, because you cannot have it universal across the board. The reason why penalties are in the game now is because they made it universal across the board. It's in franchise mode. Offline and franchise mode, there's penalties. The AIs take penalties. That is why we have AI penalties in game, because gameplay is now universal across all modes, which by logic makes sense. We talked about this. But I'm curious in the comments if there's anyone that just plays squad battles that enjoys the immersion of your AI taking penalties, because online it can't. The problem with you will never get everyone to agree that the gameplay is good. You will never, because what I enjoy is not the same as what you enjoy, and what you enjoy is not the same as what I enjoy. Stewie, you just love winning for the most part. Yeah. When I watch you play, you just do whatever new glitch goal is out, and that's fine because winning is the most important. Winning is number one. You will find whatever is the path of least resistance to winning, and that's what a lot of players in our like circle of friends do, because it makes the most sense. Me, I can't stand that. Because, well, I don't, not that I can't stand that. It's that I have an audience and I don't want to show people how to do glitch goals. I think it ruins the game. I understand that my audience is big enough now where if I show people, there's a reason why I didn't glitch rap until March, because I mentally couldn't take it anymore. But like, I didn't glitch rap because I didn't want to show people that have no idea how to do it, because then it's just an awful gameplay experience for the majority of the people. So I just try and do, like, I try to find shots that will go in more often. You know, like I'll give you an example, the cross crease right now. It's like a go-to goal. And I'll do that because technically that's in the game, in real hockey, right? But I won't do the L2 behind the net and throw it off the goalie's back, because that's like a joke. That's not in real life, right? Like, that's where I'll draw the line. If it can't happen in real life, I won't do it. But then there's people that in NHL 22 there was no glitch goals. 22 had none. But the problem is that you're basically just playing and shooting on a goaltender until something just squeaks in. And as an online player, you kind of want a goal that will go in, because then you're playing to try and get that goal set up. It's not the finish, it's the setup of what you're playing. Like, that's what two good players are doing. And you'll just never get everyone to agree on the same thing.
ever. I don't think we'll ever have a video game of NHL where everyone says gameplay is awesome. I'm talking about the 1%ers, the GWC potential people, the guys who just play squad battles, the Division 3 people. You will never get a year where everyone says this gameplay is the best, because you can't. Hockey's so random. You will never get a game where it's not, because if it's not random enough, the offline play people don't like it. If it's too random, the top end players don't like it, right? It's just a game of hockey.
I totally agree with that. I agree with that, but I think that when it comes to like the way that these penalty logic is right now,
Yeah.
it's all the way from the most casual Pete from San Francisco, all the way to the guys on top, like that play for GWC to win GWC. I personally do not believe that anybody within that realm is saying to themselves, "I like
100%.
I don't penalties are right now."
I agree with you. That's why I'm saying in the comment section, I would love to know if anyone likes it. I would love to see if one person is like, I like it when my CPUs take penalty because it gives me a more accurate gameplay experience online. Whether it's in HUT. So if you're playing squad battles or because I just find it frustrating. It's something that is not in your control. And when you don't have the reason that you would watch real hockey if that was the case, if you are cool with that, I want to be in control when I play a video game. You want X's and O's, right? I want a one-timer to go in. I miss that. Dude.
Yeah, not anymore. It's been 2 years.
It's been, you're a villain long enough to become the hero, dude. I miss one-timers going in.
I miss them so much. I miss being able to punish people for bad defense.
Yeah.
Because okay, so like you're saying NHL 22. I get what you're saying though about how that like in a game like that where there was like it was one-timers. That game was hunt for a one-timer.
Yeah.
Remember like how Josh would play on stream, sit there, circle, LT,
Ranks,
LT,
man.
LT. Find his 1T and it goes in. And that's what I would do back in that game too. So I understand how people would be like, hey, let's go to a game where like there's no 100% way to score, but there's plenty of decent ways to score, which like to me is an acceptable gameplay experience. Like there shouldn't be like a goal where it's like, if you don't play this way, you're not going to win most of your games.
That's last year. That's why
like
23 is the worst of all time.
Well, 23 was just bad because like they wouldn't fix any of like the egregious problems.
True, but like the glitch trap is what
23.
you're talking about. The glitch trap is what you're talking about.
That's yeah. But even in 22, people can say I didn't like 22 because you could only score by circling for one-timers or like circling, find a catch and shoot. So basically the same thing as a one-timer, but that makes sense for both, like for both ways.
How are you scoring?
Penalties.
How did you score this weekend after they patched like the goal that you're shooting from behind the net that Delhi does?
I was waiting for this question. So I just I took when I was playing Rivals like on stream during the week, I was like, I'm going to adapt to this gameplay by playing like an absolute weasel. And so I would just get in the zone. If I didn't find anything, there's be times I go for a far pad if I saw my guy driving the net, go for a far pad shot. If it doesn't go in, my pressure is now 50%. And you know what I'm doing if I have 50% pressure? I'm getting it all the way up. I'm going to ozone you. I'll sit up high with it. I'll get my pressure, and then I'm going to go to score. Yeah. And that's how I literally won my games this weekend.
And also tell everyone your record so that everyone kind of understands.
Yes, I did. I went 20-0 this weekend. Huge asterisk because I had realistically the most, the easiest run to 20-0 I've ever had. I've had I think this is probably my 7th or 8th 20-0. It's like my last. I had 4 or 5 in NHL 22 and a couple in 21, but like I said, asterisk. This was a very very a weak.
You didn't play anyone that was going to go 20-0.
No, I played against one guy that was decent twice. I played against and then 2 other guys that are in my chat consistently. They're both pretty good, but I think because I was on a run, they're not going to absolutely just try and grind the hell out of me. And those were games that are off stream. Well, one of them was, but still, I was dedicated to playing. I want to say scummy. The scummy is one way of putting it. We can go into the story.
You were winning, you were doing in a video game.
I was playing what 24 is built to be played like a weasel.
Where you get pressure. I can't dude. I ran into someone. I talked about this last time where they just shoot. And because it's like your rebounds, when you get a rebound, it's not 50-50. It's 75-25, you're going to get the puck back.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And I don't know why or what that is. I don't know if it's because the defensemen are slower
or what it is, but when someone takes a rebound shot, what's
Their puck
your
retrievals are chalked.
what's your habit goal?
My habit, like
Everything breaks
well,
down, but you have a goal that you are gonna go for when what is your habit goal?
So, well, pre-patch, it was like the slew of glitch goals.
You're such a
so
rat.
That's what I'm telling you. You gotta play like a weasel in this game.
I know. I
pretty
miss
much,
doing
in order
that.
to be
In 21, I
successful.
did that, and I was good in 21. I remember
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Mine's the
So
goal
this
line
weekend
shot.
though, without the glitch goals, I played 10-0, 10-0 overload, where you're like I'm not playing behind the net because your cutting is so chalk this year for like your AI in the O zone, which
Use
is why everyone's
overload.
having such a so I'm using overload. So I always have all three of my guys in like the slot up, like somewhere above the goal line, so
Yeah.
that I have options. I would basically cycle it down low to the low guy that's at the goal line.
Yeah.
Cycle it back between those two, and eventually my offside, like my winger that's sitting in the middle,
Yep.
would be on his off wing. I pass it to him and get like a really close and catch and shoot near side, so like low blocker. So if I'm
Really?
cycling on like the left corner, cycle around a couple 3-4 times. If I don't, then I just get my pressure, fired over to the guy in the middle when he's not getting body checked in front of the net with interference,
That's the way
and
that.
just give it to him,
Yeah.
catch and shoot, put it in like the low left corner.
What's yours,
That was
Stu?
like my absolute go-to.
I've been doing the goal line wrist there, and then
Like where you circle around behind the net, holding out forehand as a wrist shot,
Yeah.
and you go upstairs above the goalie's glove.
yeah,
I
it's
scored
still
that one.
it's still OP. And then if you have it open, and then like honestly, like a lot of times too, if like I don't try to get like full pressure, like he was saying, like I'll straddle the blue line and I'll just walk the blue line like McCarr does in real life, and just look
Dude,
for a turd
do you
shot
find
and
do you find that
just literally tip the puck because the tips are like
Yeah.
crazy.
do you find that they attack the blue line like your the AI even without someone running
A
on tight
little
point?
bit,
I have no time
a
and
little bit,
space.
but if you just like kind of like have good peripherals, I feel like you can look for like I said, like the deflections are really crazy this year.
Dude,
Like, you
you
just fire,
get a goalie tired, you can just huck it.
yeah, and like the tips this year, like they seem to go in a lot.
They're nothing like 23. Tip shots were my favorite part of 23.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I enjoyed.
I don't know. I'm in a
Especially during
weird
the glitch
spot.
goal is the only way you could score in that game.
Mine's low
I
far
don't-
side.
Yeah, I'm in a weird spot like
Low far
right now
side.
until this patch because they patched some stuff, so we'll see. I mean, it's
Yeah, they
I don't
did
know.
fix the RT shots. Like those are mostly gone. for
Which
the
I
most
was
part.
using those.
Yep.
Like I was not so much the bank behind the net like Deli and Papa were doing, but I was doing like the come down, the wing, and shooting
Yeah.
shooting short side.
For
And
anyone
it
that
was
doesn't know,
going
you
in.
would hold down right trigger, and it'd make the goaltender think that you were passing. It's basically tricking them, so they come up, they wouldn't hold their angle hard, and then you could basically just shoot it short side, and it would go in. So that did get fixed.
Good
But
on them
everyone
for
else-
patching that. I mean,
Yeah.
at least they patched that
Yeah,
because
that's
that's
an
like
improvement from last year.
that's just like stupid. Like you shouldn't be able to hold a pass button and shoot. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it would make it your base, and you would do a toe drag. So you would start your shot on your forehand, and it would end backhand. Like that's a glitch. Like
Yeah.
the goal line shot, I have a hard time with because that's a shot in the real NHL that NHLers can hit. You know, so it's like that. You know, like that I don't mind, and it's hard. Like, dude, it's hard to give that shot up because like it's very evident what someone's doing.
yeah.
When they go around the
It's
net
only
like
against
that.
guys that don't know what it is. When you just kind
Exactly.
of like, yeah.
And I haven't seen a Michigan in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I'm debating on
it's
going back
over.
to skill stick, but then again,
Same.
I also do like the hip check button, just tapping the hip check.
Yeah,
So-
I think that the hip check thing is really going to change stuff because we talked about this. Why you
If
thought
they
it was simple
patch that,
force.
yeah.
I think that's the main focus of the next patch. I don't have any confirmation of that, but I think that's like the main
Yeah.
focus of,
I'll go
of the
back to
next
skill
patch.
stick.
So,
Have you guys noticed the one touch passing thing much?
dude, I
Like,
don't
when
get a
you-
delay, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was wondering if you get a delay. I get a delay.
That's passing and player switching, in my opinion, is the step from going from Division 2 to Division 1.
Thrash had a funny tweet the other day. Or it's actually a good tweet. He's like, "Do any of you guys know how to actually player switch? Like,
stunned.
really,
I was
really know how to do it?"
stunned.
And I'll be honest with you, I've been a top player in my opinion for a long time. I've won
No way
tournaments.
you
Like,
didn't
I
know this.
don't even know how to do it. I just spam buttons and hope I get the right guy. Polk said the same exact thing. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, when I'm sitting here, I'm just like, change. Like, give me the defenseman.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I'm literally just like trying to
Had-
like because I
I
don't
haven't seen
care.
this video, so what was he saying?
Dude, no, how did you not? It blows my mind. Well, EA is very bad at telling you how to do stuff in game. So like but I was so stunned. It was like 70% of 1,500 votes didn't know what to do. You hold down R. For anyone that doesn't know, you hold down right trigger, and on your left stick, you aim to what player you want to select, and let
Oh,
go
I
of
did know
R2.
that one. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
You know
how.
what?
Because
You know
remember I
what
was
it
saying how I'd
reminds
always
me
grab
of?
my winger in my own zone.
The problem with
That's how I
that,
do
so
it.
the reason why that is scuffed and why it needs to be when you hold down RT without the puck, you need to button select, which is better than passing, in my opinion. Like when they do, like that's what I hope comes next year, is because when you're defending the rush, and let's say you run like you have 2 forecheckers and 1 guy in the middle and 2 defensemen, when you go to select the guy, you can't select the guy in the middle because when you aim top left, top
Right.
right, bottom left, bottom right, you're selecting the 4 players.
Right.
That's why it's such a mess when trying to defend
Dude,
the rush.
it reminds me, and it's not exactly the same, but it almost reminds me of like certain things with like base stealing in MLB where you have to like flick the stick that way, flick it that way. And I think when you're flicking a stick that is so loose like this that you could maybe you hit it 2 o'clock, but you meant to hit
That's
it
it.
one. I mean, it's so minuscule, and when you're playing that quick, like you said, and your defenseman's right here, if your defenseman's right here and your center's right here, and you flick it right here,
That's the
but you really
problem.
get that's
That's
the
always
problem.
been scuffed. That's
And
how.
I don't know what way they can make it so it's easier. That's why I say when I do it, I'm just like I'm just like
Here's
spamming it.
2
Like
more. Here's 2 more for you that you might not have known. Hold down right trigger for a second, like a full second, and let go. You will select your furthest player back. On top of that, in your own zone, if you hold down RT and you click in right thumbstick, I don't know with total controls. You can try it.
Okay.
If you hold down RT and you click in right thumbstick, you will select the closest player to your goaltender.
I did
Okay.
know about 2
In
of
your
those
own
3. I didn't know
zone.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ben told
I
us
honestly didn't know
that.
about the
Ben
last
told me
man
that like
back.
2 years ago, and everyone was like, "What in the world?" Because that's nowhere in the settings. That's nowhere in the menu. That would and like that's what stops like cross. Well, it allows you if you chase, if you hold down right trigger and click in the right stick in 23 and 22, you would actually be able to not get out of position badly.
What if they made it like icon passing where you hold down the right trigger?
That's
and
what
you
it
can
needs
just,
to be. That's what I said when
That's what I think.
they brought in vision passing. I was like, dude, just do this for
Yeah.
player select
I had to
instead.
put money on it. They're gonna put that in next
It
year.
needs
If
to be.
I was a betting man,
Yeah,
I bet
I
it will
hope
be.
so. I remember I said that in my video about the beta when they showed it. I was like, I hope this means that vision player select is going to be next year because that's a massive thing. Defensively, oh, dude, you don't have to mess around with trying to aim the right stick. So, wait, what do you do in the defensive zone?
Me, I just hit spam it till I get the guy I want.
Oh, my
Yeah.
God, dude.
Oh no, I flick to my winger
Yeah,
every time
immediately,
and
dude.
grab
You
him.
get stuck
Yeah.
behind the net and you're in chasing. Immediately, right trigger up to
Yeah.
the top far side winger, and you just
Mhm.
bring him right in, dude. Like
Yeah,
that's
I don't know.
crazy.
I've always done it that way. Like I just spam it till I get somebody I want. I'm just smashing it. Like,
It's probably just made you a better player by having to just deal with it. I guess maybe.
You
But
have to adapt to
the,
the fact that you weren't using a mechanic.
so I played a QC player, of course. And it really dug open my eyes. And this is what I was gonna say. Like this, I think, is the skill gap between Division 2 and Division 1 this year. Glitch goals is one. Okay, that's gonna be one. You need to learn them and you need to utilize them if you really want to. That's just the reality of the situation we're in. But the biggest thing is passing an excessive amount and being able to do it successfully. So I played a guy. Bro, I'm talking like 7 passes on the rush. And there's no way to defend it unless you just sit for one. That's going to happen eventually. And I'm talking about they're on the rush, they pass it back, pass it forward, pass it left, pass it right back. Now they're in the zone. But on top of that, someone did it to me in the offensive zone too, and it made my goalie go left and right a million times. And when you make the goalie go left and right a million times,
Yeah.
it tires him out, and you can just flick it in. And it was like,
I had to send you the clip of this. I'm gonna tweet this clip out. It was like so funny. I was playing Larsenist, our buddy Larsenist, and it's so funny. Like I always tease Larsenist because I was watching him play so much because I sit in Discord with him, and I always tell him like, dude, you played roller hockey your whole life. You're the most impatient person I've ever seen. I really do believe like that's the difference
it's a
between
big thing.
him becoming better than like whatever it is, like how much better he gets, right? I'm always like, dude, just be patient. Like I watch him break out the puck and he's just like a hot potato. Get it off my stick. There's so many times where it's like I constantly like, and like I'm not saying like I'm the best player, but it's like I'll like we use the weak side defenseman, go D to D, like slowly, like move, like I feel like so many people just rush it, and that's when they like fall into turnovers, or they waste ozone possessions because they're just rushing plays, and like I feel like that might be like you said, like the biggest thing is just like
offensively, that is
wasting-
1,000%. I know when I can give very good players a game, and I do it all the time because I get sniped all the time. and it's impatience that will absolutely sewer you in this game when you play someone good. So something like in the offensive zone, if you can't sit still and wait for someone to come at you with a strategy, you are basically just going to run yourself out of room eventually because the AI
Right.
will get in the way of you. Like it just will. Like if you are just if you can't sit still and stop and wait for them to pressure you, this game, the ones that dominate in all aspects wait for you to do something so that you can react off of that and you make them do that. So player switching defensively is also the big skill gap. So what I've come to notice now, because I noticed someone that would just constantly player switch on defense too, and I was watching a few, like I was watching Sap actually, and a couple other guys, but what they would do, and CAD, they would take their player and they would run it at someone that's on the breakout, right? And at the last second, they would switch to someone that would be their number one read. And they would switch the number one read. And so basically, you're driving, let's say you're pushing someone wide, right? You're pushing someone wide, and now they've got to either cut outside or cut inside. And right before they have to make that decision, they will switch to a player and they will take away the inside. And now you're not trying to take away that person's play with the player that is basically has all the attention. When you're playing someone, you're looking at the player that user is controlling. You aren't paying attention to the other AI. Your eyes will be drawn. I'm sure the better players do, and that's why they're the better players. But your eyes will always be drawn to the puck carrier or the person that is controlling the person defensively. And the second that you start messing with people by switching off, and now they're paying attention to not only the player that's right in front of them, which is the AI, but also now you, who has controlled someone else that is trying to come in. I ate someone up by doing it, but then I became impatient, and that's when you start chasing. And like, it's funny you brought that up because yeah, if you could just sit still, it's crazy, and that is definitely like a big trait of players that just can't get in Division 1 or can't get like top 100 in champs. That's a big thing for sure.
This guy's like Eki, right? Like when I've seen
You
like
watch
he has
Eki, bro?
he has his YouTube videos
Mhm.
of his goals. He makes these plays that I didn't even see that were gonna be available because of his patience. And it's these like little tap
He will
like
do
these backdoor goals where I'm like, I was like, dude, that wasn't even a thought process in my head that this guy was gonna like go backdoor right here, and he just does like a little cut back, a little turn, then fires it over to a guy that like cut to the back door, and you're like, oh, like it's like I would
His
have done like
reads,
3 other things
yeah.
before thinking of doing this.
When he makes passes in the offensive zone to a player, he will wait. Like he'll pass it to a player, and it's not a shot. It's like a wait a half second. It's like he like disconnects, and then he'll either make
Yeah.
because then that person will react and come to you. And now when they pull that one player towards you, something is opening up. And when you're someone that's played the game at that level, like what opens up automatically when someone comes at you with a certain player, right? And that's what separates them. But yeah, when you watch his clips, man, his passing plays, they're quick, but every time he gets the puck to someone, it's like deliberate. Like he will wait a half second with each player before feeding it to another person, and that's the reason why his patience is nuts. And yeah, like it's funny you brought that up about Larsenis because Larsenis is like, yeah, like he's a good player. He plays so much, like he's a good player in the sense of like just in the rest of the player base. But yeah, like I do the same thing. I get super impatient. It ruins me offensively, and that's
It's like he's scared and he just like that. I
breaking it
always
out
tell him
too.
like,
You got to go
yeah.
forward.
I'm like, man, I'm like, why are you just like in his first instinct when you get in the zone? I'm like, sometimes I'm like, brother, like you just go right to the corner and then you just cut to the front of the net. I'm like, why don't you like move it around a little bit, cycle, get it up top, draw some like
Not
you know,
comfortable with the puck.
boom, just yeah. I'm like, man, you played roller hockey your whole life, and all the kids I played ice with that played roller were like the most patient kids always. They were so good with the puck because it was that's how roller hockey kids were. But yeah, it's just funny. It's just an example of something that I noticed. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like I don't know, I'm curious to see how this game progresses after this next patch, like with the hip checks and stuff. Because I really do believe that's a big problem right now. Just still even
I
playing the
agree.
game.
Well, this is what's separate. Sorry, this is what's separating though, like the top guys right now, like we're talking like the GWC contenders
Yep.
versus like your other
Your hut
like
hero.
even like I would say the guys right below them, and then your hut heroes. Like
Okay.
these guys are the top end right now. Like since this game is so much harder to score in, these guys that have these little things that they see that other people don't is a reason why Sap is 80-0 in Hut Champs. There's a reason why Cat is 79-1 in Hut Champs. Polgs is like 78-2. Benny is 79-1. These guys are up. There's a reason why they're not losing games. It's because they do these little things in a game that is so much more difficult to score in. Like whereas 23 was just like, just kind of throw your like just coin flips everywhere. Like who's gonna get like their glitch goals to go in this time? There's a reason why like look on the leaderboards every week. Last year you were getting like maybe 120.
20-0. Yeah. That's
Maybe
the pressure
one,
system
and
too, though, and I knew that when it was
Yeah,
coming in because
that
you don't
too.
lose the games.
Yeah.
You lose a lot less games that you feel you should have won in this game, which I think
Yeah.
is a good thing. But
People still do. I can see people still complain.
They still
but
will.
now
They still- I still-
we're starting to get into a rhythm. People are learning how to play the game,
Yeah.
so they're not losing those games with like egregious like
22
TOA shot
minutes to
advantages.
6, something, yeah.
Yeah, it's happening less. But like, there's nobody was going to be going 80-0 in NHL 20
No.
23. It's
No.
impossible. Like you would have to have like been booting people like NHL 18 style.
There's a
for
reason why
that to
Gren
have
and
happened.
Regs weren't in the end of the GWC. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there's a
100%.
reason
Well,
why. Like they just was so random.
Well, last year's was like such a like everyone knew that there was gonna be like we all knew that there was like that group that someone was gonna win out of that group.
Yeah.
It was more of like
But
whose
usually it's
coin
one
flips
person
went
or
their
two
way.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, like Joe's obviously deserving of winning it because like he mastered that
he was
game.
mastered at that, yeah. But anything else you want to talk about that we didn't hit on?
No, nothing. Just Papa's going to be joining the podcast full time. If anybody out there was actually curious, I guess they're
Yeah.
wondering if he's just coming on. Everyone, but we plan on having him on here full time. It kind of works out good with our. I mean, I know Sleazy, it's a little late for him, and we try to get it a little earlier. But his schedule, he's 2 hours behind me. He's 3 behind Sleazy, so it kind of works decent for our schedules.
Also fits the demographic. 3
Yeah.
30-year-old dads. You know,
Yes.
we've always tried. You know, when we lost Kesso, R.I.P.
Yeah, right.
Kesso. You know, it's we were trying to fill that dynamic, and you know, a 30+ dad is is very. It's, to be honest, like your skill level, like in terms of like finishes, is pretty close. He was definitely
Yeah.
a master
yeah.
of like mechanics.
Yeah.
But listen to
Yes.
these last couple days. I think you got more nerd in you than people maybe give you credit for. I'll be honest with you. So
Well, I had the one story. I had the one story from my run where I went
Oh, yeah.
full toxic mode.
that is good. That is
So-
good.
Okay, so in like game 10 on stream, you guys can probably you can go back and watch the VOD if you want. I can't remember exactly what it was. So I was up 2-0 against this guy that I've never heard of before called Babs91. And I was like, and all of a sudden he scores and someone comes to my chat and his name is Babs something in there. And he goes, bro, you're dust. And I look at my chat. I'm like, who the fuck are you to be coming in my chat when you're down 2-1 saying that I'm dust? I'm like, and so I end up for some reason, it just rubbed me the wrong way. He ends up tying the game. Then I go up 4-2 late, and I ozone the hell out of him for the last minute. And also, it was 20 seconds to go in the game. And I took that puck, and I went deli style right back to my own end, and I just ragged him for the last 15 seconds. I'm like, you want to come in my chat talking? I can't say that. We can't swear on this podcast.
Oh, no, it's
you want to
fine.
talk all that smack? You want to talk all that? Okay, yeah, all that shit. You want to talk that shit? I'm going back to my own end with this puck to end this game. And so then I after the game, I'm like, yeah, that shows this guy. All of a sudden, new chatter, another guy with a different tag, Babs91 goes, hey, GG, man. And I went, oh, no. I was like, I was like, dude, wait a minute. That other guy wasn't you? And he's like, no, like, that was somebody else, like, impersonating me. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
You
And I'm like,
ragged like
dude,
a-
I'm so
just
sorry.
a harmless viewer.
Ragged a random dude.
Oh my god.
And then to make it worse, he subs, and I'm like, oh no, like not the sub too. It's like I rag a guy, and then he subs to me. I'm like, no, not like this,
dude.
So you
That's
know what?
rough.
At the end of the day, karma. This is why you don't rag. And
Yep.
like I never rag people. That's probably the first time I've ever full on like just rag somebody. I more did it for like just like as a joke.
Oh,
more
if
or
someone
less
came to my
because he
chat
came in
was
my
talking
chat.
smack than doing that, yo, it's all bets are off.
Mid
100%.
game, mid game. So
Yeah.
I was just kind of wanting to get, like teach him a lesson. If you're gonna come
Yeah.
talk smack mid game, well, you know what? Then all bets are off.
I agree.
No, but it bit me in the ass.
Dude, you look like a bud, bro. You don't want any of that.
Oh
dude.
yeah, I felt like an idiot.
Dude. Well, hopefully this week it won't be we won't get any trolls in the chat, and we'll all dude, I had my worst hot champs round ever, but that's for another story. That's for another day. Thanks for everyone for listening to episode 82 of Coffee and Chel, and we'll see you all next week. Have a good one.